Support for Donnybrook Last Call is provided in part by Design Air Heating and Cooling.
Well, welcome to the inaugural edition of Donnybrook Last Call. You know, for a long time, we've had many topics that we weren't able to tackle because of time limitations. Now, here on the 9 PBS app and elsewhere, you'll be able to hear our last call. So, on this edition, we're going to talk about a story that came out this week, Alvin Reid, and that is that there seems to be two major trains of thought when it comes to spending the Rams money in the city of St. Louis. As you know, 2021, we won, $780 million, 35% went to the lawyers. The county got $169 million, the Regional Sports Authority got some money, and the city got, $250 or so million. It's now up to $270 million. So, Kara Spencer, an alderman, along with her colleague Pam Boyd, have joined forces with the Greater St. Louis Inc., which is kind of like a business group, and they've decided that they want $232 million to go to North St. Louis, Southeast St. Louis, and Downtown St. Louis. They're a little short on the specifics, but they seem to be ignoring the plan of Megan Green, who's the president of the Board of Aldermen, and she wants an endowment, and that for generations to come, St. Louisans will be able to live off the interest of that $270 million endowment. What do you think?
Well, it should not all go into an endowment, and it, should not all go north. It should not all go to downtown. Now, it took forever to get to this point, so I know I'm asking for the impossible. When I said, let's make a deal here. But some should go to an endowment. I think everybody should have a rainy day fund, okay? And so some should go to an endowment. What's interesting here is I think our parties are lining up for the mayoral race. I think Pam Boyd has declared now she's with the Kara. Where Greater St. Louis Inc. is, pure conjecture, but I think they're kind of choosing sides here a little bit. So it remains to be seen, but yes, some should go to an endowment, and I would say 51% should go to endowment. Let's do what we do with the rest.
I don't think there'd be enough money coming out of the endowment to really do anything. I used to favor some big project, and then they waited and waited and waited with the pandemic money, and then came up with the SLDC with such goofy things. $12,000 for this and $20,000 for that, and $1.3 million for the Hubbards, and I just thought, a museum and an outfit called Urban Pyramid, which was for the well-being of the area. I think they got $20,000, and the Post-Dispatch couldn't even find them, Austin Hughley. Yeah. So I like the idea of just doing something with this money now and just be done with it.
And I think we all do. And I wouldn't have a problem with a portion of it ending up in, as you said, Alvin, in endowment. But I think Megan Green, somebody that I don't usually have an occasion to compliment, I have actually been very impressed with the way that she has negotiated her way on this homeless legislation within the aldermanic board, and how that has been negotiated. So maybe there is a possibility of meeting in the middle.
Oh, I don't know about that. Pretty soon before we got on this show tonight, President Green sent a pretty snippy letter to Jason Hall, the CEO of Greater St. Louis Inc. Kind of a pretty condescending tone in this letter.
Never mind.
And kind of like this giant brushback. And basically she was saying, hey, we were just going on our summer recess. We were continuing to do this work of talking to the people about what they want. You have jumped the gun. This is totally premature. And if corporate interests want this money, they had better pony up, make this some sort of public-private partnership. It sounds like they are on very different pages here.
I think you're right, but I think everyone's forgetting that the city asked the residents and others through a portal to determine what they wanted, and people voted most often for water mains. People forget that last January, when it froze, we had 50 water main breaks at one time. And just last month, it was reported by the Natural Resource Defense Council that when it comes to lead pipes, we rank number 7 in the nation with the number of lead pipes in the United States. So right there, you have it. Fix the water mains, which is what the people wanted. Fix the lead pipes so that kids don't grow up with brain problems.
Well,
and why would you then give the money to nebulous activities like infrastructure or housing, which you don't even have specifics
Well,
on that.
I will say, in regards to this survey that the city did, at the time that they did this survey, I was still at the Riverfront Times, and we did spend some time mocking it because there was not a full gamut of choices here. They
20.
they were asking you certain questions to move you in certain ways and to steer you towards certain choices. And for that now to be held up as like, oh, well, the people have spoken, I just don't think that's...
But it was put together by the government officials themselves
It
who are
was.
ignoring that. And employee pay raises was a big issue, came in number 3. And right now we know that the city has a $42 million surplus because it can't get enough people to hire them. So if you put more money in the employees' pockets, maybe you'll get more workers.
Employees, if you meant like police and first responders, I would say, yes, put some money there. And then that escrow or, that account, the interest on that, maybe that keeps those raises in place for a number of years. Something like that I could go for, but every city employee getting a little taste of this cash, oh no.
I don't think I've never thought that in terms of people applying. I don't think we have the people anymore. I just don't. I don't even think it's a matter of pay. I think.
Well, we're not going to have them if we don't pay them.
It is amazing that this money we had, which seemed like such a tremendous windfall for the city, it's just going to be petered away.
Yeah.
The city can't afford to do everything it needs. It does need to pay all its people more. I mean, there's a shortage of guys to pick up garbage.
That's right.
Let alone the cops.
Yeah.
But to Megan Green's point, it's not like the downtown business interests are asking for that much money. As we mentioned on this show, Pittsburgh's going to spend $700 million on its downtown.
Yeah.
And this group is asking for $100 million.
Well, Pittsburgh's got $700 million to spend. I mean, I'm not mad at them.
We got 270.
Yeah, I mean, that's a decent chunk of change, and I understand it's not going to solve everything, but I would be very disappointed if we were just going to spend that on giving everybody like a 2% raise over time. Like, this is a chance to do something cool, and I would like to see something come out of this. And I don't want to see it take 20 years to come out in dribs and drabs. I do want to know more about this plan. I am not ready yet to write a check.
Polish the arch.
Okay, another topic on our first ever edition of Donnybrook Last Call. We'll go to you, Wendy. Schnucks, where we're going to be at the Richmond Heights location December 20th from 4 to 6.
Right.
Ringing
That's
bells
right.
for the Salvation Army. Schnucks had self-checkout at 20 items or less, and then they moved it to 10. Then they got some pushback. Now it's back up to 15. As a grocery shopper, what do you think?
I mean, the fact that this is what I love. I think this is what people love about St. Louis, that this is what we're talking about. I mean, that is a big deal to people. I just think that's sweet. I don't know that I'm going to wake up in the morning with more of a spring in my step because, hey, I've got 15. They negotiated their way back to 15. But if it does make you happy, via con Dios.
Now, that is spoken like somebody who lives in the county and gets to shop at Dierberg's. In the city, our Schnucks is all we have, and we feel very passionately
You feel very
about these
violated.
policies. Yes, and how nice to see them meet the people where they're at.
Yeah, I go to the very Schnucks that we'll be at, the one in Richmond Heights, and I like going to the register, and I know a lot of the people who wait on me, and I think it puts pressure on them when you have this limit, and they're supposed to count how many items are on there. I mean, I wish they'd take that whole thing away, frankly.
If I found
option.
myself, and this is one of, I've told the kids that if I'm talking to paintings like Richard Nixon, they have permission to, like take care of mom. If I ever get to a point where I'm counting somebody's odor eaters or beer cans, then that's another sign that maybe it's time for me
Well,
to...
when they used to have that line for like 12 items or less.
Right.
Don't tell me that you were there with your 5 items and you weren't counting that person.
I don't have the mental bandwidth.
You know what? We're going to have to talk about this again next week.
Another
Flat out of
last
time.
call.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to download that PBS app to catch Donnybrook and Donnybrook Last Call. There you go. There's your instructions. We'll see you again next week at this time.